Hey, what up, family? What's going on? It's time for No Picks Podcast.
Good evening, family. Joe checking in, No Picks Podcast.
All right, so hopefully everybody had a fantastic Thanksgiving week. So we back at it, right? So today, Joe and I are going to react to a clip from what we got from World Star. Of course, we love World Star. We go hard for World Star. So we're gonna let it play, and we are going to react to the content. So,
all right, let's see.
And you weren't dealing with anyone else during that time?
No, sir. My oldest son's father would come over to visit his son, and I think that kind of
got it. Gave that impression.
Yeah.
While I was at work, though, kind of like.
And sometimes he would be there. He would go to the back room.
How often would he come over?
He would come like every other week or so, but sometimes he would be there. He would go to the back room and not sit up there. But then when he leaves, he'll come up there and try to
What
make
about
it seem
him
like
being there when you're, well, as long as he's there to pick the child up while your husband's working, y'all have a little small talk or talk about the child.
And sometimes he'll just go to the back room. He don't even sit in there with us.
Okay. And you swear you weren't dealing with anyone else?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, this indicates you're not telling the truth. He's not the father. Have a good day, folks.
I ain't got nothing to say. I'll be there for the child. I ain't got much to say. I don't have much to say. I'll be there for the child.
Right.
I just say.
Not even right. I don't believe it's right. I don't.
Space, bro. All right. So I'm gonna ask you. My question to you, Joe, is: should DNA tests be mandatory in all cases?
Yes. I believe that DNA, as soon as a child is born, the test should be done at birth so that once you have your child, you know that it is yours. And more for the father, of course, because the mom always knows it's hers.
Course,
you know what I'm saying? It's more for the father. So speaking for the fathers, yes, absolutely. Do the testing off rip. I want to know if it is mine. This is shout out Judge Joe Brown. You know what I mean? I grew up watching that man too, still doing his thing. Shout out
Judge Mathis.
Judge Mathis. I'm tripping. I'm thinking about Joe. Shout out to both of them. My bad, y'all. But shout out. But no, yeah, I do think it should be mandatory, bro. This is BS, and this is one of those issues that I'm so we've talked about this in the past. Like we're so passionate about because this is BS because that means that man's raising that child. So that's my first response. Let me just keep it there first. So yes, it should be mandatory. How about you, bro? You think about this clip?
Yeah, obviously, I think if you ask a room of 100 men, 99 and a half of them are going to say, yeah, they probably should be mandatory. It's the reason I don't think that ever will be the case, not nationwide anyway, is that it's a man issue, right? It's like because the women, it's not their problem. It's like, okay, it's my kid, so if it's not your kid, as long as you're helping me take care of my kid, she's getting what she needs, and the kid's getting what they need. But you may not know that's not your kid, but it doesn't matter to her because she's to her she's like, well, what's the difference? Like we still love it like it's our kid, but it makes a difference to the man,
right?
Like if it's not your kid, you want to know, and if you still decide to take on that responsibility, that's your call, right?
Which he did. You see the bull. I mean, whether he did or not, that's another thing. But on tape, he was like, "I'm gonna still be there for him. I ain't got nothing to say." Which is crazy. Yeah, crazy in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is so we've talked about this before, and like we want to tell the audience, family, like this is just a real conversation about this subject because this is a pretty serious matter. We're talking about once a child is born, if your name is on that birth certificate, that means that if you should ever split from this woman, you are responsible for still taking care of that child and taking care of that mom. You know what I mean? You're paying for all the expenses, all the resources that you have are being poured into that child, invested into that child, and not just the time that you can't get back. You know what I mean? All of that is being invested into that child. And I think that what men have to understand, especially, I'm so glad we know. I wish I knew at a young age that after a baby is born, men pretty much, I feel like we have no rights. Yeah. We can't decide once the woman gets pregnant. We can't decide if she's going to keep it if
Yeah.
she's going to, do something else or abort it
Yeah.
because maybe we weren't
Yeah.
ready, maybe it was an accident. We
Yeah.
can't tell her what to do.
They,
And
they
if
have
we don't
100%
want to have
power.
it, if we don't want to be a father, we can't, what I mean? There's nothing we can do to stop her if she wants to have that baby, right?
Right.
So this is the biggest thing. Like once the baby's already conceived, at that point, for me, it's like, if for guys, it's like, bro, that's pretty much, unless you wanted this to happen, at that point, you've lost so much power.
Yeah.
You've
Yeah.
lost and this is why this is such a big deal with this case, because this happens more often than not. I forget the statistic. I wish I could pull it up, but the one talking about, how many children, come up, like they get tested for DNA and the father
Yeah.
is not the actual father.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
statistic is alarming to know
Yeah.
that it
It was.
happens.
Yeah. There was some law. I think it was Memphis. It's one of them. Well, I think it was Memphis though. There was some law that was passed in the city of Memphis.
Yeah.
And they like mandated that men get like paternity tests for kids when they're born, and it's like a surprising, and like I'm not sure the exact statistic. Don't quote me on it, but it's like an alarming number of men turn out that the kid isn't actually theirs. Like
Right.
a surprising amount of men.
Right,
But, like,
bro.
think about it, because like if I'm a woman, right, and I'm with Tom and Dick, right, and they may not know, right. I'm in a relationship with Tom, but I'm also linking up with Dick, right. I get pregnant. She's not going to tell the dude that she ended up, take courting seriously. Like, yo, listen, this may not be your kid. I don't think. Listen, bro, in a room of 100 women, I think 98 of them ain't gonna say shit at all. They just gonna be like, yo, hopefully it turns out to be the kid. So I got a personal story.
Right.
So when I first joined the military, my ex was all right, when I came back from training, right? So I came back from training. I was probably back like 6 weeks, right? And she went to the doctor. She was like, "Yo, I'm late, blah blah." And I'm like, oh, "Okay, cool." So we went to the doctor, right? And the doctor was like, "Yo, you pregnant?" And it was like, the doctor was like, "Yeah, you like 15 weeks." And I'm like, "Hold the fuck!" I'm like, I ain't a goddamn rocket scientist, and I'm sitting there counting like, I'm looking at, I'm like, how accurate is this shit? Like seriously, like how? Because
Yeah.
and she looking at me crazy. I'm like, no, bro, we in the room. I'm literally asking the doctor like, how accurate is this? He looking at me like, yeah, it's like pretty accurate. Like, not pretty accurate. Is it like you like 100% sure of this shit? So she's trying to argue with me like, no, they're not always 100% sure. Blah blah. I'm like, no. I'm not trying to hear nothing you talking about.
Right.
I need to hear what this dude's saying. He's saying that. I'm like, yo. So in the back of my mind, I didn't say those words because obviously I know those things. Those are words you can't really take back. But I'm like, yo. In the back of my mind, I ain't gonna lie to you. In the back of my mind, I'm like, okay. Little nigga was born. I was like, okay, there's no dispute, right? I'm like, so I see him and I see me. So I'm like, okay, cool, we good, right? Like I'm like, all right. But if there was any question, bro, like any question at all, I'd have been like, I wouldn't have said nothing to her. I'd have been like, swab, took that shit took the joint to the one of them, whatever, whoever test that stuff, and been like, yo, cool. But because when he said that, bro, all my alarms went up. I'm like, hold the fuck up.
Right.
I wasn't here for 15. I wasn't here for 15 weeks.
Right.
I was here for 6.
Bro.
So it turned out to be cool. I mean, you see it. So we're carbon copies of each other.
Right.
So there's no issue. However, if I had a slither of a doubt, I'd have been like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let's get this taken care of.
Let's get this tested. Yeah, right. And that's facts, bro. There was this case a few months ago, or maybe like a year ago, but it was in Jamaica. I don't know if you heard about it, but the boy found out that like all 3 or 4 of his kids weren't his. Right. I mean, so the man was dipping. Shorty was like getting ran through at the crib while he was away working, and all the kids that he was taking care of and supporting, it was like 3 or 4 of them were not his. And when he found that out, something unfortunate happened. You know what I'm saying? Like he took action matters into his own hand. He acted out. I don't want to say it because I don't want to feel like people are saying we endorse it or we promote it, but it was a fatal incident. Yeah. And that happened. And then there was a case of a brother a few years ago who he was married to some shorty for like some time. He was like
Right.
a vice principal or something at a school, well established, had a career, had a family. He
Right.
gets a letter from a judge. I don't know if it's a summons, what you call it, but talking about he has to show up to court because he has to get paid child support for a child that's his from some shorty. Turns
Right.
out she was some stripper that he must have messed around with way back, bro, way back. But he was found innocent, right? Just to let you know, they did the testing; it wasn't his. But
Right.
before all of that happened, this man was painted as unfaithful. He was a dog. He lost certain. His character had already been tainted. Like
Right.
people were looking at him differently. Him and his wife were like fighting, and shit was like
Right.
rough between them two because
Right.
she basically like, damn, you had a whole child out on me.
Yeah.
Like, what are you
Yeah.
talking? And
Yeah.
he's like, yo, this is not mine.
Right.
Like, this is not somebody wrote my name on his birth certificate, and it come to
Right.
find out, Shorty did that. She wrote his name on the birth certificate. No one checked it. There's no system in place. There's no
Right.
protocol to verify that this is true. You can just file it, put somebody's name on it, and send it off, and then you'll get a freaking summons from a court.
Right.
Even if you had nothing to do with it, bro. And this is from years ago. That is too much power for one side to have, bro.
Yeah, it
I'm
is.
sorry. Like
Yeah.
the fact that there are no checks and balances to that,
Yeah.
that any shorty can just be like, all right, I'm gonna put Joe's name on this joint because it might be him. It was a good time. I don't know. Maybe I'll just put his name down, and then I'll get legal documentation that I gotta show up for child support.
What's crazy is that like the scales have tipped too dramatically in one direction, right? So back in the 50s and the 60s and I don't know, maybe the 70s, you was able to come home, lump your wife up, right? And just, even if she called the cops would be like, listen, that's a marital thing. Leave us out of that shit, right? It'd be like, they just leave the house, right?
Right.
Now we're in a place where a woman, you could be arguing with a woman and just be like, yo, you could be like, hey, you know what? I don't know, say something derogatory something to her. She could be like, hey, you know what? She can pick up the phone and call the cops on you.
Right.
And just say whatever she wants. They'll take your ass to jail. No,
right.
Like, and all they need is for her to say something and be like, oh, okay, cool. They don't need to see no physical evidence and nothing. They could just be like, yo, cool, she said it, we taking you to jail. So it's like,
yep. Like the shorty from the,
this issue won't be rectified anytime soon because it's not an issue that negatively impacts women. It's an issue that negatively impacts men, and we know society doesn't really give a fuck about men.
It does, and I do feel that way. I do feel like overall, like society, we're expendable. We're just batteries to be used, exploited for our energy, for you know what I mean. Like we don't get valued as much. At least I'm speaking from my experience in Western society. You know what I'm saying? I want to talk for the West. It could be like that elsewhere, but all I know is America. I'm born and raised here, so I'm speaking for like my experience here. But that's how it feels. But no, bro, like. Yeah, I see what you're trying to say, that before, because things were much more oppressive, maybe because women did have less rights and were more possibly abused. I don't want to say this is fact because everybody want to paint the color purple to all of history. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like as crazy as people try to like, you know what I mean? Like, but because of the backlash to that or wanting to like rectify that, maybe they went too much in overcorrecting this shit. You know what I mean? So now it tips in their favor. So now they have, immunity to certain things and protection from the system and all this stuff. So
the problem is women know it. Women know that they have this kind of power. So how many times have you been in a situation where a woman you were dealing with dangled the cops in front of you? Like, nigga, get in line. Basically, nigga, get in line.
I know that very well.
Or I'll call them cops up on your ass. And then you got that very well. This bitch might call the cops on me. Let me chill.
Right.
Because I know I'll lose. You don't get a fair shot in that situation. So, and these laws haven't caught up to what it is now. Because guess what? Now, women don't need men. They boss bitches. Like, so
it's crazy, bro.
The laws need to reflect that. The laws need to be like, a cop come to the house. The laws need to be like, yo, listen. I don't know who's you got your side of the story. He got his side of the story. Listen, we'll be back later or some shit like that. Y'all sleep on it. Y'all let us know what y'all think. Whatever. I don't know what the in between would be. But I mean, this law ain't changing because it benefits women in the state.
Absolutely.
It turns out, I mean, if I'm a female and I'm with a lame ass nigga, but he got resources, you mean like you be cool with that? But guess what? When that nigga go to work, I'm going you probably gonna bang who you really want to bang. You gonna bang Pookie who blowing your back out.
Right.
You have Pookie baby. Pookie ain't got the resources to take care of that baby that you had. But guess who does have the resources? Corny ass. I don't know. What's a stand up name for what's a lame name for a dude that's, I don't know.
Michael B. Jordan. They said he was corny.
Right.
Calvin.
Yeah.
Calvin.
nigga that's doing this
Craig. Shut up, Craig.
Pet Craig is some cute.
No, that's real. So yes, bro. Your point about the cops thing too. Like I'm gonna say yes, that does happen.
Right.
And I've had an experience where like I had to remove myself from a situation because I'm like, yo, if I'm behind bars, there's nothing I can do for my child.
Nope.
Like literally, I had to walk away from a situation because
Right.
I was like, you can only call the cops on me, but so many times before I realized you just want me booked so that I can't see my kids or
Right.
whatever because bro, the repercussions of this is insane. Even with
you lose your kids, you lose all that shit. You lose your job,
your career, your
right.
prospects, everything. People think that you're an abuser. People think
right.
you have this like scarlet letter now when you come
right.
out. Like, and to tie it back to the paternity thing, the thing is, once you get into this and then they put you in child support for a child that is not yours, if
Right.
you don't pay, they will take it out. You will get your wages garnished. You can get your credit. It'll affect your credit. You can go to jail. You will have to pay fees. You can
Right.
lose your license. See what I'm saying? They tie you into this
Yeah.
without you having nothing to do with it, without them even checking to see if this is actually true, without any testing. And they can take so much from a man. I hate that there isn't more accountability and checks in that system, bro. That is too much power. That is too much power, bro. That's way too much, bro.
And the corny thing is, the shit to me is that it's not even like a secret. All women know that if they get into an argument with their man, if it gets too heated, all they gotta do is threaten the cops, and they know subconsciously it'll put fear in that nigga heart because he knows what time it is when the cops. If a female calls the cops on a guy, 9 out of 10 times it will not end well for the guy.
Absolutely, bro. And from the communities. And from the communities we come from, and this is not all of them, but we also know that when they're dating the Pookies and the Ray Rays, Pookie might have a record, Pookie might have a warrant, Pookie might, be dealing with his baby mom and custody issues and child. So you dangle that cop stuff knowing he gonna act straight because if the boys do come, you know what I mean? He has a whole list of stuff. You know what I mean? Like it could easily just ruin that man's life all over again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like they dangle that as power, bro, and that sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks that they use that as leverage, and it sucks, bro. It's way too much power. It's too much power.
I've seen the most well-intended women be like when they backs against the wall and they feel like they ain't got like that's their ace, bro. That's their fucking that's their high joker. They'll be like, oh, okay, cool. I ain't got nothing else I can play against this nigga, or he kind of won this. Cops. Boom, pull out on your ass. Right. Boom, nigga. Wow, draw for fucking whatever the goddamn the best Uno card is. Like, because now they got some random shit. You can just write your own thing in there. But anyway.
Yeah, I know. I don't like that, John. Give me the OG one.
Anyway, we got in this soon. You got any last thoughts?
I do have a thought. I'm gonna say this to the fellas and for those who aren't aware, or just like for perspective for the ladies, for our audience members, but like to tie this to a bigger point, to a male issue that we have. There's a reason when we talk about like promiscuous women or women who have had higher body counts and things like that, you gotta understand that men are biologically wired to either detest or be disgusted or to not want to invest in a woman who is promiscuous. Why? Because for thousands of years, if a woman got pregnant and had a baby, there was no way to know if that child was yours. Mm-hmm. So once that child came into the world, whether it was yours or not, you would never know. Right. So you had to make sure that you had a woman that you felt that you could trust, a woman who hadn't been with too many men, who hadn't been around, because you had to ensure that this was your child, that you were going to pour all of your resources in. So over centuries of that, we've been wired to kind of be like, all right, this is a flag for us. You know what I'm saying? And this is like, listen, for women and people who want to live their lives the way they see fit, you do that. Live your life the way you see fit. But just to let y'all know, like, this is a big reason why some men are against or aren't going to wife up or take women who are more promiscuous seriously. Because are you going to cheat on me? Are you going to am I going to be raising somebody else's kid? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
so if you want to, all right. If I'm back in the day, right? If I'm a hunter and I'm gonna kill what's the big ass elephant with the tusk that's extinct now?
A mammoth.
If I'm gonna risk my life trying to kill a mammoth to feed you and your little fucking rugrat, that rugrat needs to be mine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Bro.
I may not come back from this hunt.
Right.
I mean,
This is all I have. So you had
right,
to make sure that that was yours because otherwise, for the next thousands of years, we would have no way to verify that that was your child. So think about it. We're wired to be
right,
like, no, I got to make sure that my woman is not promiscuous. I got to make sure
yeah,
that I can trust her. So this is also a thing that's connected to this paternity testing, and so like it's all connected too because we're like, yo, this is too much power, but we have to know that this child is ours. And
right.
now that we have the testing, make it mandatory. As soon as the child comes into birth, do the test right there. Do it right there.
I feel you.
So I mean that's it,
Yeah.
bruh. I mean, what you got, man?
I mean, that was it. That was it. My little English, I mean, the elephant examples is all I had to throw in. My little pearl of knowledge right there.
Let us know what y'all feel.
Yeah,
Let us know how you feel about the topic. Let us know how you feel about paternity testing. Should it be mandatory? The case that we just saw. Let us know anything. If you have experiences, you can relate to this. Let us know, and of course, like and subscribe. Yo, shout out! Our subscriber count is climbing. Me
yeah,
and Ty are excited, family. Thank you so much for the support. We promise things will get better. We're just so happy to see the support now. It keeps us
yeah.
motivated and keeps us going. So like
More
and subscribe.
subscribers. More. If
Yes.
y'all get more subscribers, Joe will get a BBL.
Yep.
And
Let's go, y'all. Keep the love coming. And until next time, okay?